Hi, this is Stuart Manley. This brief podcast supplements the article I wrote about the legal case between the Federal Trade Commission and mega open access publisher OMICS. The article was published in the April 2019 issue of the Journal of Scholarly Publishing. In this podcast, I will briefly discuss some of the obstacles that the Federal Trade Commission may face in recovering the $50 million now owed by OMICS. OMICS is an online open access publisher based in India that publishes hundreds of journals and organizes conferences around the world. The Federal Trade Commission, or FTC, is a U.S. federal government agency. After receiving consumer complaints about OMICS, the FTC filed a lawsuit back in August of 2016 against OMICS's U.S. subsidiaries and its founder and CEO, Dr. Srinubabu Gedela. The FTC alleged that OMICS was deceiving authors about the impact factors and indexing of its journals, the fees it was charging to process articles, the rigor of its peer review procedures, the identity of its editorial board members, and the nature of its conferences. Andrew Smith, director of the FTC's Bureau of Consumer Protection, said, "These publishing companies lied about their academic journals and took millions of dollars from aspiring researchers and writers." On 29 March 2019, the U.S. District Court for the District of Nevada ruled in favor of the FTC, holding OMICS liable for slightly more than $50 million, the amount OMICS earned between 2011 and 2017. It also ordered OMICS to permanently stop deceiving customers. So what happens now? The FTC reportedly has a database of authors who submitted manuscripts to OMICS journals. It has said that it will contact these authors if it succeeds in recovering the funds, and that the authors can, and it doesn't matter where you are from, submit a claim through the FTC's website. If you are unsure whether a journal to which you submitted is an OMICS journal, you can check their website, www.omicsonline.org, for a complete list. There is a link at the bottom of the FTC homepage, www.ftc.gov, that's .gov, titled Apply for a Refund in an FTC Case. I followed it, but at the time of recording this podcast, the OMICS case was not there, and it might not appear until the FTC recovers the funds, if it ever does. This leads us to a major question mark, which was raised in recent reporting by both the New York Times and the journal Science. Can the FTC actually recover the $50 million? After all, OMICS is headquartered in India. Presumably, most or perhaps even all of its assets are located there, though this remains unclear. The FTC has said that it has started to contact OMICS's American banks, and it has an international office that collects judgments from abroad. Ultimately, it will be up to an Indian court to decide whether to allow enforcement of the U.S. judgment in India. Indian courts look at a number of factors in deciding this, such as whether the original U.S. court had proper jurisdiction over the matter and the defendants, and whether the decision violates international law. Another factor is whether, open quote, the proceedings in which the judgment was obtained are opposed to natural justice, close quote. Thus bias, or the lack of opportunity for the defendant to answer the charges, could undermine the enforceability of the judgment. In my inspection of the court documents, I did not see any problems with the proceedings that would call into question the enforceability of the judgment. But that's what lawyers are for, to make arguments. It would be easier for the FTC if the US and India had joined a treaty for recognizing and enforcing each other's judgments, but they have not. India also has a list of what it calls reciprocating countries. Many of them are from the Commonwealth, like the UK, Canada, and Malaysia. Judgments from these countries are expedited through the Indian court system. The US is not a reciprocating country. This doesn't mean that the FTC can't enforce the judgment, just that it won't be as easy to do so. One of the general conditions for recognition of a foreign judgment is that it must be a final judgment. OMICS has reportedly said that it will appeal the case, and it has 60 days from the date of the judgment to do so. Well, that's if it doesn't request an extension of time. Thus, authors who are looking to get their money back will likely have to be patient before they see a refund. That is, if they ever do.